I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast, Top Gun Sales Bootcamp Training. And we're getting into the deep end really, really fast here. Wow. There's a lot. So always come early, always stay late. Kenny and Luke were talking about ask a question. So there was a Christmas party last night that they were participating, did a debrief on that. Thoughts about next year and all that kind of stuff. They're going out and doing Christmas gifts for their customers. They were asking, what do we say to maximize the ROI on it? And then how long should they do it for past clients? So in answer to the second, it's up to you guys. You might go ahead and do it. You're looking at time and money. Again, going back to the secret about time. You guys have been through that. Becky, I don't think has. I think the rest of you have, but have you all internalized it? So Top Gun comes from the Air Force, and these are the elite of the elite fighter pilots, and the best of the best. And so you might go ahead and do it for 2 years. If they don't refer somebody, if they refer somebody, you keep giving it to them. If not, they don't. There's this here. So we used to in Action Vision, don't so much anymore. But you have your A clients, your A referral partners, your A people. This is the core of your business. This is where 10% of your clients will produce 90% of your profit. That's 80-20-90-10 397 principle. So you want your in-person to blanket your A's, you want your phone to blanket your A's and B's, and then you want your direct mail or mass outreach to blanket your A, B's, and C's. You have triple coverage of your A's, double coverage of your B's, and single coverage of your C's. So you have that and going there. In an ideal world, Kenny and Luke splitting up routes, and so they're doing separately. The advantage of that is that you get twice as much coverage. In an ideal dream world, they would be developing somebody else, and so each of them would have somebody else to go with them. They could do that in the future. And so
That was something that I was wondering, like Kenny has certain spots that he wants to go because he has the connection with that individual.
right,
And so how do we develop someone to or figure out how we can get away from it or
get away from what?
like that connection? Is it okay to send someone else or do we just
Typically what you do is what they do um, in generational wealth. Often what happens is the first generation of wealth in business, the parents, why don't the parents go ahead and why don't kids want to take over for their parents? It's kind of weird. Oh, we had I don't know if I was just talking to the guy. I'm talking to so many people now. My head's just exploding. But so Becky and Nora, if you guys jump in. So we had somebody we were talking to, and he had three. He knew of some. I think it was, yeah, it was Nora and I with the one guy. And he said that he knew somebody had three brothers. So Myron,
Myron. Myron,
Myron.
yes.
So I think he owns a concrete company, and he knew somebody that had three brothers that worked together. And he asked him, "How do you guys work together?" And they laughed and said, "Oh, it's pretty simple. If there's issues, it's because somebody's being stubborn." I think he said.
Yeah.
And so, again, Coffee Connections is the it's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. It's life changing what will happen. And so he went ahead and he kind of was a little awkward. It's kind of cute. And he's like, so he just, I mean, it was just business x-ray. Like we were just talking. It was the coolest thing in the world. Nora and I were just talking and I just slid in the x-ray as within 10 minutes. I was just talking and, casual conversation, just slid it in. He's like, can I do that? Like I didn't, he just says, can I do that? Is that okay? Do you think that's a good, like, can I do the x-ray? I mean, it was weird. It was cool. And then he's like, I don't know, 20 minutes into it, he's like, I said something about the booklet on friendship. And he's like, he's like, I don't know if you'd be interested, Mark, but said something about, friendship and stuff. I don't know if you'd be interested in like being a friend. I mean, what I heard him say was, would you be interested in being my friend? Like,
Well, it's really cool. Like the whole setup of that call was really cool. Like he comes to Coffee Connection, and then I called him. I called him. I don't know. Was it like 3 days later? And did the 30 minutes, and then he scheduled an appointment, and then you come in and it's just casual talk. Like it's not even. Yeah, it was really cool. The whole setup of it was really cool.
when the system is right and we follow the system, it's crazy. So in generational wealth, the first generation of wealth, what they do is they work so hard to get it. And the second generation, they don't want to run the business because they see how hard their dad and maybe mom, work to get it. And they're like, I don't want to work that hard. They just want the wealth. They don't want to do the work for it. And they don't, first generation often doesn't train the second generation how to handle wealth. So the second generation gets blown out and loses all the wealth from the first generation. It happens all the time. Generational wealth, where it goes from one generation to another generation to another generation, they go ahead and send them to private schools in high school, and they spend $250,000 a year. And what they're doing is, in large part, they're embedding them into the network. In the Amish community, you can see this. They do it different, but the same principle. So they connect the kids because the transfer of generational wealth is the networks, the connections, the relationships. So how do you do that? You go ahead and you send somebody out, Luke, with Kenny to develop the relationship. How do you develop those skills to do that? Like at a party, like last night at a party, you go ahead and if you know somebody, you introduce them to somebody else. And so you bring them into the loop. And so you bring them into the loop and you talk to them. And so, you introduce them. Hey, this is Mark and he does coaching or he's a mentor or whatever, you want to say. And then you go ahead and you start up a conversation. And so, because I don't know my role, I don't know. I mean, I can go ahead and insert myself. It's not a problem, but it's not natural for me. It's clunky, but I just get through it. I can push through it. So there's all kinds of stuff in this. And so Kenny's looking here you have, and we don't talk about this. Kenny and I have worked for years together, 4 years. I don't know if we've ever talked about Box 16. Box 16 is magical. 4 years, I don't think we've ever talked about it. It's absolutely magical. It's unbelievable. I'm getting tingles just thinking about it. It's like, you got to be kidding. So it's obtained B2B and B2C referrals. And Patrick's got some stuff. Patrick's got some stuff. So what's the difference between the Christmas party last night, what Patrick and I are talking about and what everybody else is doing? It's not to go ahead and say what everybody else was doing was wrong. I'm not saying that at all. Like, that's not at all. He and I are talking about things that I've been working on for over 40 years. I'm trying to find a cure for stuff, trying to change the world. Other people are having fun. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad people were having fun. It was really, really cool. It was fun. It was interesting. Like it was really fascinating. So there's all these opportunities, all these things that can interconnect together. And so what Kenny's looking at is, when you guys go out and talk to somebody, they're, especially in this community, they're connected with somebody that can make one person can make the 2.5 million next year. One person, one connection handled properly can make the 2.5 million. For Nora and Becky, one person. Like Tom Ninnis out in Denver, he went ahead and referred over a 15-month period of time, referred over $260,000 in business to me. Because when I'm servicing somebody, and it's one of the hardest things in the world when you're servicing somebody here, like if I'm servicing somebody, I'm selling. I'm doing either, I am like box 27, which we'll get into at some point. Box 27 is penetration versus expansion strategies. Penetration is getting more business from your current customers, which could be come in, for you guys in construction, it could be more work. How do you do that? So, especially with people with a lot of money, they have the money. That's not, when you get into money, they have the money. So that one place that you guys invited me to come out to, have you guys gotten any referrals from them?
I think we got like one or two, yes.
And so if you work those, was he the one that came from the referral from the doctor?
Yeah.
What are you all thinking right now? This is what you should be thinking. One, how in the world does Mark remember that? Anybody have any idea?
I know we talked about it a lot when it happened.
A couple of times, yeah. Which is a lot for us, right? So one is, I don't get invited out on many job sites. So it's not that hard to remember. It's not like Nora and Becky, where they have me talking to 50 people all over. Like that's harder to keep track of all. But he got from a referral. And so did we do anything with that? Probably not. Did we put it into a system? Probably not. Did we have booklets at that time? We did not. See, the booklets, and it's fascinating. It worked. It's like, dang, it worked. They worked. I can't believe something I did worked. That's crazy. And it not only worked for me, but it worked for Nora big time. So she's nervous, but she learned, trust Mark. She'll never forget that, I'm sure. I'm sure she'll never forget that. Next time she's not sure, I'm sure she's going to go, I remember, trust Mark. So, so somebody says something to somebody else and, gossip or undermining. It's not, maybe not gossip. Maybe it is. It's undermining somebody, making somebody look bad because, little men, little women, they undermined other people. And all of a sudden he sees the story of Nora and he's like, yeah, that was really interesting to see that story. And so the little people, they talk a lot. The big people, they don't. They just like, whatever. So, but a booklet, and so could that be in there? Could you guys stop by and are you guys giving them a gift?
Yeah.
So, do you know what kind of business he's got or what he does for a living?
Finance. Something in finance.
So, did you guys really immerse yourself into, their lives, the husband, the wife, the kids?
No.
I
So,
could see if he has a daughter to date.
right, you better go ahead and
He
listen to
doesn't.
that. You better listen to, well, but he probably knows somebody who has a daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you better listen. You better listen to that, that podcast we did with your brother a couple Saturdays ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you want to listen to that one. So you guys, you guys, you guys have an opportunity. I don't know how, I don't know how to help you guys see it. It's just like Tom Coons. It's a chance of a lifetime. It took me a year pursuing him to get him. A year. A lot of calls. And Alvin and Mel and Ernie. Like it is such a privilege for me to go ahead and hang out with them. But nobody else is. Why not? I don't know. Like they don't understand. They don't understand the magic that's there. And so, you know, and again, there's a part of me that's at the Christmas party that like like after Patrick left, like after Patrick left, um, I'm sitting there and Nora, she went and picked up Lincoln and and then, so they left an opening and Elaine, it was fascinating. Elaine said, come over, Mark, we need you. And I just did it. I just did what she asked me to do. And so you guys go ahead, like I think it's Irvin, the new guy with Compass. Like, did he feel welcome? Did he feel loved? Did he feel nurtured? Did he feel, and so why didn't I go and take the initiative? Because things aren't in flow between Jason and I. Because of some of the things Jason said. It's like, okay, well, I don't know. Okay. So, but you guys are. I mean, when we say flow, it might be a little tiny itty bitty stream, like little trickle of water, like a little faucet. Like there's not a lot of flow. I don't know. You're Amish guys, so whatever. So here it's immersive. It's finding out you're so connected, like you've never met somebody like you. It's like, my gracious, like this guy actually cares about me. And so here, so I don't know if I was you, I would try to hang out with me and have me hang out with you guys as much as you could. That's what I would do. If I was you guys, I'd be like a sponge. Like this guy, it's insane. Like he can create any experience he wants to experience. Like he is that good. Like you guys introduce me, I'd try to get me to parties and everything else, and it won't be easy. I don't think. I mean, I'll go and do anything once just for the experience. But then how does he do it? How does he command and control the room? How does like Natalie? She we'd go out to business events and she's like, it's just so fascinating to be with you. I'm like, okay, why is that? She's like you're the most, unassuming guy. You're just a normal, average, average guy. That's what I heard her say. You sit down at a table and you're just like invisible, like you're nothing. And within minutes, you've got the entire table just totally captivated. Everybody's paying attention. Like everybody's hypnotized by you. It's just, that was 20 years ago. Oh, I'm a lot better now. So here, and again, if you're listening to this, it's not ego. This is not ego. It just is what it is. Like I don't want the praise, the accolades. I want to pass what I've worked really hard for decades over to the next generation. But the next generation, they're not picking it up. They don't understand what They don't understand what they have. They don't understand what they have. I mean, I can weave magic anywhere, and it's like I don't really have a desire. It's not a natural gift. Everything is like learned. It's like I have social autism. I don't know. And so, here you have we talked a little bit about this yesterday. So you have your A fish, your B fish, and your C fish. Everybody wants the A fish. This is your A's. This is where you make your most money over the next 12 months. 80% of your business is going to come from your A's. Your B's are going to be, so if you're a fisherman, I don't think any of you have heard this. I don't think Kenny has. This is a phenomenal story. So if you have where you're fishing a business and you have to go ahead and you go out fishing and commercial fishing and you have to have a 20-pound salmon. If it's anything less than 20 pounds, you're going to lose money on it. So you go out and you put the net in the water and you go ahead and catch an 18-pound salmon. What do you do with it? You throw it back in because you can't make money on it because it costs more to process and everything else. What's better than throwing it back in? Adjusting the net size to go ahead and have, so you don't catch 20-pound, anything less than 20-pound salmon, you don't catch it. You don't catch the fish. You just don't. Because it costs time to pick that fish up and take them, weigh them, and then throw them back in. So you adjust the netting size, literally, and you go ahead and open up the nets a little bit so that less than 20-pound salmon slip out. Because you don't want to have leads. Like Nora and I have, we haven't done this many X-ray sales in forever, long time. It's unbelievable. But they're not converting into Action Vision. So what we have to do is we're doing something else. And so what's better than adjusting the netting?
Not catching them at all.
Well, that's adjusting the netting. So what's better than not catching them at all?
Keeping them till they're 20 pounds.
Right. But, well, that's a totally different way of thinking. Like fishing, you go out and you catch a fish. You never go ahead and talk to a fisherman, never, and say, why are you going out today? And they're like, well, to catch a fish next week. Never. You never do that. A fisherman's always expecting to catch fish today. I mean, unless you have some other goal. I mean, if you're a young man, you might take somebody fishing to catch, her later, so I don't know. Anyway, so it's not really fishing here. That's another story for another time. And so you go ahead and so what do? You take the 18-pound fish and what do you do with it?
And nurture it, grow it.
You
Feed
take it back to shore and then you put it in a fishery. Are you going to make money on that fish?
Not unless he's 24 to 25 pounds.
Right, but you're going to spend more time and money developing that fish, just throw them back, unless you have a fishery, unless you designed something to nurture that fish and you have a system in place.
Right.
To feed those fish. So you take the yellow fish and the green fish. You guys want to see genius?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how hard it is to go ahead and build a fishery?
Yeah, that's hard.
Right? Like, and so that's what Life Masteries can be to all of you businesses. It can be the fishery, and then be generous with them. Because what they're doing is hard work and it costs money. But Life Masteries can go ahead and take these little fishes that are great to catch with your grandkids, but no meat on those bones. And they can develop it. Like this whole thing interconnects to go ahead and reach 8+ billion people. It's all designed to do that. So what's the purpose? You go ahead and have Life Masteries go ahead and do this. You build systems, you partner up with Life Masteries, and you go ahead and build this up, and you feed these fishes, and then you turn them into tons of business, and then they go ahead and refer lots of people to you. So the average person on the street knows how many people?
500.
250.
250.
Yep. And business owners on average will know over 5,500 people. So it's the network, it's the connection, but why are they going to share their connections with you? So your voice in my headset, like that is a crazy, crazy cool story. Like it's amazing. It's like a miracle. It's like it just doesn't happen. And if it ever does, it never gets captured. This time it's gotten captured. The amount of business that can come from that is insane. Now Kenny and Jason, they haven't had that big of a vision in the past. So they don't understand opportunities. What do you mean, Mark? The East Coast trip. Going to David Hancock. I've known David for over 20 years. I've never met him. He invited us to his house. That was wild. So he told me, like, they only accept, I don't know, 1 in 5,000 manuscripts or something like that. When I showed him my 15 books at the time, he says, we'll publish anything that you write with anybody. I've already got a New York publisher ready to go ahead and publish that book. We could go out there on an East Coast trip again. And so all of this stuff interconnects with everything else. But you got, like, if you have a big vision, like a huge vision, then you start seeing, I'm like, why aren't Kenny and Jason, why don't they want to write a book with me? That makes no sense. These guys have no idea. They don't even have to write the book. I'll do it. Like, I'll do all the hard work. I'll do all the heavy lifting. I'll do everything. I've got everything lined up. Anthony's going to raise $5 million for, his nonprofit. And so why? He's got a great cause, ADHD. And then he's got a great story, a sad story. His son committed suicide, 9 years ago. But it's a great story for raising funds. It's a great cause. And so there's a great story. There's a great story in your voice in my headset. I mean, it connects back into Riverside Retreats and all the different things. And you look at all the different pieces. How many other stories are just out there waiting to be written? And all this stuff interconnects. It's like, but but the disciplines of the daily grind and the disciplines of the making the daily calls and and all the pieces, like in good to great. And so, today is weird, right? It's different than the others. Why is it so weird?
I don't know. It's because of last night.
It's because of last night. Because it disrupts everything. I can't even find the thing. So this book I read, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. you know. So this book I read all like long time ago, maybe 30. I don't know how old it is. And so, good to great. What do you do when I look over the good to great transformations? The one word that keeps coming to mind is consistency. I mean, will people internalize that? Like, you need to listen to this, not because Mark said it, it's because Jim Collins said it. He's smart. You know, Mark, not so much, but he's smart. So listen to him. Another word that offered to me by physics professor R.J. Peterson is coherence. What is 1 plus 1? He asked, and then paused for effect. 4. This is leverage. See, someday you guys are going to realize what you have. I hope. In physics, we have been talking about the idea of coherence, a magnifying effect of one factor upon another. In reading about the flywheel, I couldn't help but think of the principle of coherence. However you phrase it, the basic idea is the same. Each piece of the system reinforces the other parts of the system to form an integrated whole that is much more powerful than the sum of the parts. It is only through consistency over time, through multiple generations, that you get maximum result. When I read that 20, 30 years ago, whatever I read that, I'm like, dang, that is amazing. And I've been spending the last 30 years trying to put together multiple generations in one generation, shrinking it down, shrinking it down. When I turned 40, I thought, what do I wish that I knew when I was 20? I wish I knew what I now know when I was 20. So I bet you when I turn 60, I'm going to wish I knew at 40 what I know at 60. So how am I going to accelerate that? How am I going to do that? And that's why, Tom, this book had a huge, huge impact in how I thought. Huge impact. Minimum, you guys go through and read this here. At a minimum, you read this. Like these are the books and the movies. Oh, this is what I was referring to the other day. Hide a dagger behind a smile. So one of the individuals in my life said, a family member actually said, "You're ruthless, Mark, in business." What he meant to say is if you got, sorry, ladies, if you got your head up your ass, Mark can be ruthless. Like he is to be feared. He is to be feared. Like you hurt somebody, he will take you out. Well, what if you're his wife, or what if you're one of his children? Doesn't matter. Like you hurt somebody, you better not use your power. And then Sun Tzu and the Art of War. And Jonathan I, The Art of Seduction of the Masses. I wrote that book when I was in Tennessee with him. Like there's so much in here. Ooh. And then X-Men. Like like Nora and Kenny and I have, like we have a moment together. Like, because we watched that. System Busters, how many times have I talked to you guys about that? And it made the stick. Like, and this one, like all of these books, they forged, how I think. And then on the individual piece here, you are the placebo. This is for individual personal growth. This is one of the best things. Usually when people step into the river of change, the void between the old self and the new self is so uncomfortable that they immediately slip back into their old selves again. They unconsciously think this doesn't feel right. I'm uncomfortable, or I don't feel so good. The moment they accept that thought or auto-suggestion and become suggestible to their own thoughts, they will unconsciously make the same old choices again that will lead to the progression of the same habitual behaviors that create the same experiences that automatically endorse the same emotions and feelings, and then they will say to themselves, this feels right. But what they really mean is this feels familiar. We had 80 books for the Your Voice in My Headset. last night. And not one of them got handed out. Not one. So Compass will never, ever know. Dreamscape will never, they'll never know. And Dreamscape has like the top, like, I don't know, at some point, that position could be $5,000 to pay for that ad that's in there. At some point, that might be how much it costs, maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000. And so Dreamscape will never get a bill, ever get a bill. If Becky was there last night, those books would have been handed out. So next year, Becky, we need to make sure that you're at the Christmas party.
Why do they have it on a Wednesday, though?
Next year, you can help to influence that, right? So you can make that happen. All right. Anybody else? Again, this was a little wonky. This is a little wonky. This is a little out there. A little bit like, whoa, what happened to Mark this morning, right? Like, oh my goodness. That's what happens when you get me around a bunch of people. Like, man, he gets jacked up. Ooh. Anything else any of you have?
No, I do not.
No.
Ooh.
I hope you guys are taking this thing serious. You guys have no idea. I mean, you just don't. I just wish there was some way I could communicate to all of you. Your goals can be 10x'd. Like Jason and Compass, they're going through 10x, but nobody's learning anything. Like really? Like really? Like you guys should do a book reading together. You guys should, and 10x would be a great book to read. But when you're reading it, you got to communicate with one another and you got to have me involved. You got to have me involved in that because like when I see what's in 10x, like 10x is like, like Dreamscape is talking, Dreamscape is talking 2.5 million in sales, which is very respectable from 800,000. What's 10x?
25 million.
25 million. I'm just telling you, I don't know. And I'm 61 years old. I don't know. Maybe that's why it's more exciting to me. I would think that, I mean, if I had this opportunity when I was in my 20s or 30s, it'd be like, you got to be kidding. Like, this is what I always dreamed of, but I never had. Had to do it all myself. Like everything. Like here, it's like Tony Davis, the president of Preferred Mortgage Associates, he said, Mark, you and I have set the table for the salespeople. They have to come and eat. So when you're talking about Top Gun, like those dudes like Tom Kuntz, it'd be cool to have like, oh, Nora, that's another one, another list for Tom. So he was a Green Beret, which is Army Special Forces.
I had an uncle that was a Green Beret.
No way. See, so we need to go ahead and have Tom, talk about that. So he's over in Vietnam and he's walking through the jungles and they say, put on your mask. And they say, you can't have a pinhole. Like that mask has got a hold. You can't have a pinhole like that thing because you will die. And he's like, it was the weirdest thing in the world. And then they dropped, the planes came in and dropped some type of poison. He says the animals are falling out of the tree dead. And you're walking amongst all this dead stuff. It's like, dang. And then what happens? What happens when he comes back? Goes to San Francisco, California, I think as he flew in. And then there's protesters there and they spit on him. And then he and I went out to Camp Pendleton, which is in Southern California. And I'm telling you, that was a crazy meeting. But Tom said, he said, so the Green Berets, they're the strongest, smartest. They're the ones that they're machines in how they think. He said, but those Navy SEALs, he says, I've never seen anything like them before. They're a whole different type of, like, it was so fascinating to hear him talk with reverence, like they're competitors, kind of like it's another branch of the military. He's like, those dudes, though, he's like, they're animals. Like they are absolute animals. So it would be really cool, it'd be really cool to go ahead and have, he's not going to get up at 3:30 in the morning or 2:30 in the morning, but it'd be really cool to have Tom on with you guys and you guys ready to go ahead and ask him some questions. It'd be really cool if we went ahead and, if you all met him. And that could happen. That's not even hard. It's not even hard.
Where does he live?
Southern California, Orange County. And it would be so fun to go ahead and have you all interact with him. I'm telling you, chance of a lifetime. And we ought to, Nora, the David Hancock from Morgan James Publishing. You and I ought to do a podcast with him.
Okay.
There's these pieces that it's like the Wizard of Oz. It's like there's these pieces that I'm trying to put in place for you guys. I'm like, here's a piece and here's a piece and here's a piece. Come on, guys, you guys can connect the dots. You can do this. You can do this. So hopefully this has been helpful for all of you. Yep. Good lesson. Don't ever bring Mark to a Christmas party. You guys are amazing.